People, welcome back. Right, episode 2 of the dog crate, we're going to call this. I'll flip you around, show what we've done so far. Today we'll be doing the doors. Bit of explanation, time-lapse, music, all the good stuff. Welcome back. Please like, please subscribe. Does help me to help you with these videos. Welcome back. Okay, this is where we're up to so far. So we've got the main crate built using, if you watched the last video, with our pocket screws and biscuits. We've lipped the face with some with some pine, just to hide the raw edge of the ply. All this has got to be fit. This is all filled, ready for sanding, so don't worry about that. So basically that will be the main dog crate. You're going to put rubber feet underneath just to raise it a little off the floor. Over to the next stage, which is going to be the doors. Now I've measured the opening and I'm going to give 3mm gaps. I'm having 2 doors. I did think about having them equal, just down the centre, but then I thought as the dog grows and gets a bit bigger, that may be a little bit tight, so I'm going to do 1/3 on the one side and 2/3 on the other. This door is going to fall back against this door. So what I've done, I've taken my measurements and I've drawn myself out. Can you see there? A little rod. This now is the door jambs or rails, the parts of the door that go across. Stiles up and down, rails across. So I've done my overall marks of how wide the actual crate is. Then I've come in my 3mm, picked up my mark for my next door, give myself a 3mm hinge gap, and then obviously I've given myself 3mm at the other side as well. So this now is telling me that from that mark to that mark is how wide my door needs to be. Then I've got my hinge, then the second door to that mark, then my second set of hinges. For the height I've done the same, the door stiles, the uprights. I've got my overall marks there and there. I've come in 3mm, 1/8, whatever you want to work it in, each side, and that now is going to be my height of my doors, that way. So I'll check that against my crate just to make sure that my measurements are there. Once we get it, it's hard to do one-handed. Right, so there you are, and you can see that then will give me 3mm on the bottom and 3mm on the top. So what I've done as well while you've been sleeping, eating, whatever, is I've run my section for the doors. Now I'm using this as 38 by 38mm, or I think that's 1.5 by 1.5 roughly. You do whatever you want. This is just what I'm doing. So I've got my door section, and what I've done is I've run a slot in there so far. Originally I did say that I was going to use steel bars. That's a good option, good idea. But also I've got some mesh here. I'll spin you around. It's some old mesh. Can you see that? Some 1 by 1 old mesh that I can paint black, and I can put that in the 2 doors instead. So to facilitate that, big word of the day, what I've done is I've run a groove in the wood in the center, just wide enough to take the mesh. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut my stiles and my rails, get everything ready, dry fix everything together. I'm just going to use butt joints with furniture fixings. I'll show you those in a minute. So for now I'll put it on tripod, we'll get cutting, we'll put some music on, I'll stop talking, peace out. Okay, just a quick note. What you see me doing then was I marked, if I show you, I've got rails on the rod. Now this is called a rod when you draw it on a piece of wood, and what I've done, I've placed a piece of my door section on my line. I used my square then to pick up my second line. I'll just quickly do it just to show you. Bunk, bunk, bunk. Pick that up, squared that line up. So that then would be my entire opening of the door. But obviously what I'm doing is, when I build the doors, if I show you quickly, that's going to be, if you imagine that's a stile, and then a rail is going to come, a bit tight space by here, but like that. So basically the rail that's coming across the door is going against the stile, which is going full height. So obviously if I cut my rail to my rod size without taking away the stiles, it'll be too wide. So what I've done then is I've got two offcuts, put them on my overall mark, and then marked where those offcuts are, because if you pretend they're going to be two stiles, then one on that end and one on that end. So that then becomes the width that I need to cut. It'll become self-explanatory anyway. So I'll put it back on tripod, put some more music on, let's get going. Welcome back. Right, so fixing time. These, I only know them as furniture fixings. They're a button head wood screw, wood fastener. I know them as furniture fixings. Basically they've got an Allen key head and a coarse thread with a little shank on them. And what I've done a sample piece. So I countersunk the head, so the head is just dimpled in. You can leave them flush, I suppose. And it makes a really strong joint. I'm trying to flex that joint as much as I can. There is some give, but obviously I'll be gluing the joints as well. These I can fill over where we've run that groove through. They'll be filled in, so you won't see that. But I think that's going to be a better way of making the joints. So that now, if you imagine, that's the style of the door going up, and that'll be the rail going across. I'll show you in the frame. So that will be effectively like that. Where you? There you are. Like that. And then obviously a mesh is going to sit in here. And that's time that's sanded down, flushed over, and then we got our 3mm gap for our hinge going up, and our 3mm gap underneath. That should be pretty sturdy. The one door is only narrow anyway, and then the second door is there. So a bit more time lapse. Stay tuned. Right, I've just run a sample piece now with my hinges. I'm using 3-inch brass butt hinges, just because that's what I've got in the cupboard. 2 per door. I've set up the router with a flat straight flute bit, and I've done the depth so that it's almost flush. What that does is gives me just about a 3mm gap, which is perfect for what I've marked out for the size of the doors. So I'm not going to waffle, it's just mark your hinges, square them across. If you haven't got a router, then I am using a chisel to square up the shoulders anyway. You could cut it with a chisel by hand, as I've done for decades, but a router just makes it quicker. But if you only have a chisel, then you can use the chisel marker. Take your time, pare away, keep your fingers from the blade. Let's do it. Ta-da! Right, so there we are. So both doors are in. I've done the mesh. Hinges are on, gapped. So this door then swings open back on itself onto that door. So you've got plenty of space. I've put a little door stop as well. The second door is held in place by, can you see that key sticking out there? So if I undo these, just for you to see, and down here, a bit awkward to do because I'm holding the camera as well. So let me see if I can get my arm in there. Here we go. Yep, there we go. Right, so what should have dropped out, but basically they're held in by these. They're little chub shoot bolts, flesh bolts, throw bolts, whatever you want to call them. And obviously they're activated, that was just dropped out, by that key hole on the inside, and then that key fits in. Don't know, I doubt if I do this one-handed. And as you turn the key, obviously it winds the bar in. You see that? So there. So yeah, that's what's actually holding that second door shut, but you can open the second door then to give you full access. So there you go. What do you think? That's all I got to do now is glue the doors, take them back apart, glue them, paint the mesh before that goes in, then it's final assembly, sand, paint, final assembly, and then that's it. So without further ado, call that it for episode 2. The next quick episode will be the finished product. I'm going to walk around and see how it all sits in the house. Stay tuned. Thanks for watching. Click like and subscribe. All that good stuff. See you later.